Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are standing on the edge of a massive cliff. And I mean that in a really good way. We're looking at the moment where all the preparation, all the saving and the mindset work, it finally turns into action.
It really does. We're continuing our journey through a very specific roadmap to financial independence.
Yes, and we should be clear about the source.
We are analyzing the 3 stages, 13 steps to financial independence, developed by Tamir. Tamir is the originator and architect of this entire strategy. He's also the creator of the YouTube channel, The Golden Path to Financial Independence, and he's the official Hebrew translator of The Richest Man in Babylon. It's this specific blend of modern systems engineering with ancient financial wisdom that makes this approach so powerful.
And today we are discussing Stage 3, Step 11 of the strategy.
Stage 3, Step 11.
Right. So just to orient everyone, this strategy is built specifically for salaried individuals, people with a paycheck, who want to move from financial dependence to asset ownership. And today marks a massive milestone. We are officially transitioning from Stage 2, which was all about resilience and defense, into Stage 3, which is growth. We're switching from defense to offense.
It is a critical pivot point. But before we get too excited about offense, we have to make a very, very important distinction.
Okay.
One that is really mandatory to understanding this entire philosophy. Financial independence is not the same as wealth. They're not the same thing.
I think most people use those words interchangeably. Like, if I have $1 million, I'm wealthy and I'm independent.
And that's the trap. Not necessarily. They're two different targets.
Yeah.
Think about it this way.
Okay.
If you have $1 million in the bank, but your lifestyle burns through, say, $250,000 a year.
Wow, okay.
You're broke in 4 years. You are high net worth, but you are not independent. You're still completely dependent on finding more money, and fast.
That is some terrifying math.
But on the other hand, if you have a modest portfolio that generates, say, $40,000 a year in passive cash flow, and your life only costs $35,000,
you're free.
You are free. You might not own a yacht, so you aren't wealthy in that Instagram sense of the word, but you never have to work again. That is independence.
So independence is when passive income covers your living expenses.
It means you have freedom of choice. It means you are no longer dependent on active work for survival. And that is achievable first.
And wealth comes later.
Wealth is the accumulation far beyond necessity. It's having a significant surplus. Wealth comes after independence if you choose to keep building. This strategy is laser-focused on building independence first.
That distinction is huge.
Yeah.
Wealth feels impossible to start with, but independence, that feels like a math problem we can actually solve.
Right.
And Stage 11 is where we start solving it. After all the hard work, the discipline, and the months you've spent rebuilding your financial identity, there is one moment that changes everything. It's the moment you receive your first dollar that you didn't have to work for.
How does that feel? It's a rush of pure clarity. This is what freedom looks like.
That moment is exactly who this deep dive is for. It's for the listeners who are ready to cross that threshold from theory to action, from being an employee to being an asset owner.
Right.
If you have completed your emergency fund in Stage 2 and you've stabilized your cash flow, you are ready to put your money to work.
So let's unpack this psychological pivot you mentioned, because up until now, being an asset owner has basically just been a cool label we've been working toward. It's been theoretical.
It has. But Step 11 changes the reality. It moves from a concept in your head to a notification on your phone. We call it the unearned dollar.
The unearned dollar.
It's that specific moment that changes your identity because you receive money that you did not trade your time for.
I love the way the source material describes this. It's almost like a glitch in the matrix.
Yes.
You're sitting there having your morning coffee, or maybe you're out walking the dog, and your phone buzzes, you look down, and you've made money.
Yeah. Maybe it's a dividend, maybe a tiny royalty payment, but you didn't do anything in that exact moment to earn it.
Exactly. It breaks the time equals money equation that we've all been programmed with since we were kids. When you see that notification, your brain has to reorganize itself. You realize, wait, I was just walking the dog, and my money was working.
But let's be real for a second. We're usually talking about pretty small amounts here, right? Like maybe $5 or $15.
Yeah, of course.
Is that really enough to cause an identity shift? I feel like I'd look at $5 and think, great, I can buy half a sandwich.
It sounds trivial, I know, but it isn't about the purchasing power. It's about the proof of concept. The amount is completely irrelevant at the start.
Okay.
It proves the system works. It proves that you are capable of owning a system that generates value without your direct second-by-second labor. That is a shift.
We're employee thinking.
To asset owner thinking.
Yeah.
That's a wild shift. You go from I work for money to money works for me.
And that shift is exactly where we need to bring back our rocket analogy.
It is. Because up until this exact moment, step 11, you have been fighting gravity. You've been burning fuel just to get off the ground.
Right. Stage 1 and 2 are all about that manual thrust, paying off debt, building the emergency fund. It felt heavy. It felt like a grind.
Exactly. But step 11, this is the orbital insertion burn.
Okay, for those of us who aren't rocket scientists, break that down. Why is this different from the launch?
Think about the launch. Stage 1 was just preparation on the launch pad. Stage 2 was fighting atmospheric drag. That's your debt, your bad habits, stabilizing the ship. You are burning massive amounts of active energy just to fight gravity. But step 11 is the moment the engines throttle down. The ship doesn't fall back to Earth because it has captured orbit.
So you're not just powering through with brute force anymore?
Right. You are no longer surviving on manual thrust alone. You have established trajectory where momentum keeps you moving.
So it's a shift from survival mode.
Which is manual thrust, your active labor.
Momentum.
Yes. The asset is the engine that keeps you up there.
That is such a relief to hear, honestly, because I think so many of us feel like we're just constantly throttling the engines, and if we stop for even a second, we're going to crash.
That is the definition of financial dependence. Step 11 is about building the system that prevents the crash even when you take your hand off the throttle.
But here's the thing. If this is so great, and it's the moment we've all been waiting for, why do so many people get stuck right here? The sources mention this perfection trap.
This is the biggest hurdle. And surprisingly, it's rarely about a lack of money. It is almost always about analysis paralysis.
Ah, yeah.
People are waiting for the perfect deal. They're waiting for the market to bottom out. They're waiting for interest rates to change.
You want to guarantee that they won't lose money.
Exactly. And that desire for perfection keeps them on the launch pad. We need to introduce a key mindset shift here.
Okay.
Losses equal tuition.
Wait, hold on. Tuition? Because to me, a loss just sounds like I burned my hard-earned money. Are you telling listeners they should expect to lose cash?
I'm telling them that if they don't lose $500 now, they will lose $50,000 later. Think about the University of Reality. You probably paid thousands of dollars for a university degree.
What?
You didn't expect a financial return the next day. You paid for knowledge.
Sure, but I got a diploma. Here I just get a red number on a screen.
You get experience.
Yeah.
When you start acquiring assets, it is so much better to pay tuition on a small, contained first asset, say a $500 investment that goes down a little,
Right.
than to wait 10 years, save up a massive pile of cash, and then lose half of it because you have zero experience managing your emotions or reading a balance sheet.
That actually makes a lot of sense. You're saying get the mistakes out of the way while the stakes are low.
Correct. An asset owner asks, is this risk managed? They do not ask, is there risk? Because there is always risk.
Right.
You cannot learn to swim without swallowing a little water.
It's like that swimming analogy the sources use. You can read every book on swimming. You can study hydrodynamics. You can watch Olympic swimmers all day long. But step 11 is the moment you actually jump into the cold pool.
And you cannot learn buoyancy from a book. You have to feel the water. You have to learn how not to drown by actually being in the water. Step 11 is jumping in.
Okay, so we're jumping in, but we need to know what we're looking for. The strategy has a very strict rule about what counts as an asset here. Rule number 1, cash flow is king.
This is non-negotiable in this strategy. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes it out. End of story.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate. What about appreciation? What if I buy a piece of art or a plot of land in the middle of nowhere that I know is going to double in value in 10 years? Is that an asset?
This strategy, no. That is speculation. The distinction is critical. Cash flow versus appreciation. Appreciation, the value going up, is a bonus. It's the cherry on top. Cash flow from things like rent, dividends, royalties, that is the meal.
Because you can't eat the value of your house.
Exactly. You cannot pay for groceries with your house's value unless you sell it. And if you sell it, you lose the asset. Financial independence is paid for by cash flow, not by net worth.
Right. You need a stream of income that replaces your paycheck.
Correct. We want to build a machine that works. If it's not spitting out cash, the machine isn't on.
Okay, so we need cash flow. Where do we find it? The investment world is, it's overwhelming. There are thousands of options.
It can be, But we can simplify it into three main categories, or vehicles. First, you have paper assets.
Right.
These are your stocks, ETFs, REITs, which are real estate investment trusts.
Okay, but let's get real. Most people listening have a 9 to 5. They don't have time to build a business or fix a toilet at a rental property. Is paper assets the only realistic option for step 11?
It is often the default, and it's a great place to start because the barrier to entry is so low. You can buy a fractional share for the price of a sandwich.
Sure.
It's highly liquid. You can sell it instantly. But there is a trap in thinking paper assets are easy.
How so? You just click a button.
The labor isn't physical, it's emotional. In real estate, you sweat because you're painting a wall. With stocks, you sweat because you open your app and $5,000 is gone because the market had a bad day.
Yeah.
The labor is just in a different place. You have to have the stomach for volatility.
That's the tuition part again, learning to see red on the screen and not freaking out.
Exactly. The second category is real assets. This is mostly real estate. It's tangible, you can kick the wall, it's generally inflation resistant.
But this is the one everyone obsesses over, right? Passive income usually conjures up images of being a landlord.
It does, but the barrier to entry is much higher.
Right.
You need a down payment. And it's not liquid. You can't sell a bathroom to pay for groceries.
Right, and it comes with tenants and toilets.
It does. Then the third category is business assets. This could be a side business, royalties from a book, digital products, intellectual property.
Okay, so business assets, that sounds exhausting. Why would anyone choose that over just buying a stock?
Leverage. It's the only asset class where you can theoretically get infinite returns on zero capital, if you have the skill. If you read a book once, it can pay you for 20 years. But it requires the most specialized knowledge. You have to build it or buy into it with expertise.
So how do you choose? Because I feel like people just chase whatever their brother-in-law is doing.
And that's the mistake. Don't look for the best one in a vacuum. Look for alignment. Choose the vehicle you are actually willing to study and master.
Ah, I see.
If you hate repairing things, don't buy a fixer-upper house just because someone on YouTube said it's a good investment.
Right. If you love staring at spreadsheets, maybe paper assets are your thing. If you love creating, maybe it's business assets.
Exactly. The asset reflects the owner.
I want to talk about the traps. We mentioned the perfection trap, but what are the other common mistakes people make when they finally decide to, pull the trigger on step 11?
There are a few classics. The first one is waiting for lots of money.
I'll start investing when I have $50,000.
That is a massive trap. You do not need 50K. You need to start small. Use fractional shares. Join a small partnership. The goal is to break the seal, not to buy an empire on day one.
Right.
If you wait until you have a huge sum, the pressure to not lose it will actually paralyze you even more.
What's the next one?
Chasing hot stocks. This goes right back to the cash flow rule. If you are buying something just because everyone on social media says it's going to the moon,
You're gambling.
you are gambling, not investing. You are ignoring cash flow for the hope of appreciation.
And the last one was tunnel vision.
Thinking real estate is the only real asset. People get obsessed with buying a rental property because that's what rich people do in the movies. But if you don't have the capital or the temperament, forcing yourself into real estate can be a disaster.
It sounds like the antidote to all of this is what the sources call the identity reinforcement loop.
Yes, this is the engine of behavioral change. Here is the cycle. You buy an asset.
Step 1.
You receive cash flow. That cash flow, even if it is tiny, reinforces your identity as an asset owner. You say, hey, I'm the kind of person who makes money while I sleep.
Right.
That belief makes the next acquisition so much easier.
It's like a snowball.
It is.
Yeah.
The first one is the hardest. The second one is easier. By the 10th one, it's just what you do.
So to get that loop started, we need an action plan. We can't just talk about it. The outline gives us a specific challenge for the listener.
Right. Here's the assignment. Number 1, choose one asset class to research this week. Just one. Don't try to learn everything.
So don't fall down the rabbit hole of looking at crypto, then rental properties, then dividend stocks all in one night.
Exactly. Pick one. Let's say it's REITs. Spend the week becoming a mini expert just on that. Understand the risk. Where does the cash actually come from?
You have to dig into the plumbing of the deal.
Exactly. Number 2, learn the basics. Identify the income source. Number 3, determine the investment amount. And this is critical. It must be money beyond your emergency fund.
Do not touch the safety net.
Never. The safety net is defense. This is offense. And number 4, set a deadline. Give yourself 30 to 90 days. Put a date on the calendar where you will own your first asset.
I love that. A deadline makes it real. Otherwise, it's just a someday project.
And someday usually means never.
Before we wrap up, we need to make sure we are being responsible here.
Absolutely.
Important disclaimer. This podcast provides educational information about financial independence strategies. It is not financial advice. Everyone's situation is different. Before making any financial decisions, consult with qualified professionals who understand your specific circumstances. We are not financial advisors, and we are not recommending any specific investments or actions.
That is crucial. So, to recap what we've covered today, step 11 is where the rubber meets the road. The first unearned dollar you receive changes your identity from employee to asset owner.
It's the glitch in the matrix. It proves you don't have to trade time for money forever.
It is. And remember, action beats analysis. Avoid the perfection trap. Losses are just tuition in the university of reality.
And cash flow is king.
Always. The asset must generate income now, not just future value. Start small, act now, and remember, the goal is not the perfect asset. The goal is becoming the person who owns assets.
If you want to see the visuals for this or get a more detailed breakdown of the numbers, you need to check out the YouTube channel. It's called The Golden Path to Financial Independence.
And you can find the handle at Tamir Goldpath.
Just search for that and you'll find the deep dive videos that accompany these steps.
Thank you for listening to Deep Dive. This has been episode 10 on acquiring your first income-producing asset.
2025, Tamir Kaham. All rights reserved. The Golden Path and the Golden Path to FI are trademarks of Tamir Kaham.